You at the moon? Just say the word and I'll throw a lasso around it and pull it down.
Put that coffee down.
I'm a British nanny. I'm dangerous.
It don't matter if you win by an inch or a mile. Winning's winning.
That was totally wicked!
It's the Al Travis Show, and love finding new voices out there to chat with. And that would include Corey Harguth. Corey, for folks you do not know, is in this niche thing, which so wild to me, is back in the day. That's how old I am, Corey. Back in the day, you had about, well, I would actually tell you, we had 3 meteorologists on television when I grew up. But one, the weather guy, I can't remember his name now, wasn't actually a meteorologist. He'd done it so long just doing the weather, they gave him as a degree for being there for like 50 years. But now, what you do as a meteorologist is so specific anymore. As an example, and Corey, by the way, thank you for coming on the show. Give you a chance to actually speak as I do this long intro. In your line of work now, we have, like you are basically a farm meteorologist, right? You work for the Linder Farm Network, keeping farmers up to date on literally what it's going to do in their lives, right?
Yeah, that's one part of the job, focusing on the agriculture side. But it's
sure.
I do talk with some of our other stations within
sure.
the company.
But my point is, radio stations didn't have their own meteorologists, but it's that important. We've kind of figured it out. And again, I wish I could remember that guy's name. I think it was CCO Television. He really didn't have a degree. So let's just find out who Corey is. So you're growing up, and where did you grow up?
Yeah, so I'm a southern Minnesota native. Grew up in Waseca,
Okay.
and graduated high school from there. And then I actually went on to get my degree in meteorology. So yes, I am actually a degree meteorologist from Iowa State University.
We won't hold that against you.
What, are you a Hawkeye fan or what?
No.
Okay.
Touche,
Okay,
Corey. Okay. Well played indeed. All right. So, but let's get to the Iowa State then. What fascinated about the weather? I'm a weather guy, to be completely frank. I'm not smart enough to go to school for it. But when the weather rolls in, I love sitting on the porch or in the garage and watching it roll in and watching it develop. I'm fascinated by it. Is that who you are? Are you more about pressure readings and things going up and down like that and spironucleus clouds?
Yeah, I think it's probably a little from column A, a little from column B for me.
Okay.
But the fascination with weather as a whole, I'm maybe a little bit different than some others that, were in my graduation class or what have you. Because, a lot of them had, a tornado touchdown, really close to their house, something like that. I never had that. The only thing that I can come up with that maybe drew my interest into this was the tornado outbreak. I believe they called it Black Sunday back in 1967. It actually went through a portion of Waseca and other surrounding counties in southern Minnesota. And actually, the farm that my dad grew up on actually took a hit from that.
Oh, okay.
And so seeing all the old slides that my grandpa even still has, for that matter, that just piqued my interest, I think.
Okay, no, that's cool. Now, for a meteorologist to get his degree in this, are you also I get tornadoes in Minnesota, and you can study that, the whole field. Do you hurricane guy? I mean, if I'm going to ask you about a hurricane they're talking about as season comes up, are you able to discuss how that all happens? I mean, or do you specialize in Midwest weather?
Yeah, I think I would say it's more the Midwest and kind of your plain style weather. Yeah, I could go through and look at, the updates from the Hurricane Center and kind of spell out what they're putting out there. But I think schools more in those areas that are affected would put more focus on that. So, of course, we put more focus on the summer severe weather going through Iowa State.
No, that makes sense. I'm not putting it down in any way at the least. Let me ask you this then. As of yesterday, when did we have Farm Guy on? As of yesterday, we were talking about it in Minnesota. They're saying we're in 73% of Minnesota is still in a drought monitor of some sort. Do you follow that stuff? Because I'm just a knucklehead, but it seems like everything's perfect here. I don't know how you'd want any more water or any less water. How are we still in a kind of a drought situation? What am I missing?
Yeah, so where it gets a little convoluted is, it's based more on averages instead of what's happening right now when it comes to drought. But now the latest data that we have for the drought was actually put out almost a week ago. It's put out on Thursday mornings. But that one, did show still a decent portion of, especially we'll call it kind of north central Minnesota, sitting in that moderate drought. But we're seeing some improvements here, with areas being taken out of the dryness conditions over the past couple of weeks. And now, of course, the rainfall that some of us saw Monday night into yesterday, that will make a difference. But now here's the trick. That's not going to show on the update for tomorrow.
Thursday.
Because the data actually gets pulled on Tuesday morning. And so a little bit of that rainfall will be in there, but the bulk of it will not.
Let me ask you this, and again, if I get outside meteorologist Corey's depth, let me know. What difference does it make? How do I put this? It's a week late. The farmer out in, let's go Waseca, your neck of the woods, the guy in Waseca, he's out there testing his ground. Okay, it's good enough, I can plant. He's going to put it in the ground, whether it's in drought or not. You know what I'm saying? I guess the idea that we're a week late with the drought monitor, if you're in a drought, that farmer knows it anyway. What does that monitor do for us? We can't fix it.
Exactly. This is just kind of more putting it in, say, a graphical form for people to actually see, I guess.
Okay.
But yeah, an individual farmer knows what's happening on his or her land, but what's happening in the rest of the region, I think that's kind of where this comes in.
All right, no, that's fair enough. I'm just saying the farmer can't do a darn thing about it anyway. Yep. In the drought, Margaret, we're waiting for rain. Okay. I mean, it just seems like one of those things we put out that we seem to need to put out, and I need to talk about it once a week, but it doesn't make any sense to me. Like you say, you already added something. It's a week behind anyway, so that makes some sense. Tomorrow when it comes out, it won't hit me quite as hard. I appreciate that insight. What's the most fascinating thing about you when you went 4 years for meteorologist? What's the thing you're like, I didn't know that?
Oh, boy. There's so much there. How
about the Twister movie? Cows don't fly. The Twister movie was over the top, right? Cows aren't flying through the air, and they're going, oh, my goodness, that's right. That's crazy.
Oh, we could go on a whole rant about that one, Al, about that.
That movie?
The science in it.
Okay.
If you really want to get the true effect, watch that with a bunch of meteorologists in the room, just pointing all the things out that are wrong with that original one.
Is that like a class y'all took?
Oh, yeah.
All of you sitting there just ripping it in class. That would be fun. I would watch that. That would be fun.
We never got to do that. That was, that would have been too easy,
Okay.
But now I do need to bring up the, I don't know, do they call it a sequel? Whatever it was that came out last summer. Okay. That one was better on the science. Yes, it was still, dramatizing a lot of things and, saying things that don't necessarily work, but it's getting better. We'll say that. I mean, they actually had meteorologists there on set telling them, okay, yeah, no, that's not going to work. Or, okay, we can make that work. Things like that.
Well, let's do this. Let's go to break because I'm going to be quite frank with you. And I give you kudos for getting in because, like I say, three decades ago, when we had the three meteorologists on the big TV channels, right? And one was a meteorologist. I remember when he retired, they gave him a certificate because he'd done it for 50 years. We went from that to the computers now. I mean, my watch will tell me when weather's going to go bad. My phone's got a whole app thingy that you can sign up for. The idea that I thought we would lose meteorologists, in all frankness, right? I thought we were, but instead it seems there are more meteorological jobs out there as we start getting more specific. You took a radio gig. We'll talk about that on the other side, talking about farm stuff specific in Minnesota. You're kind of bucking the system. I like it, Corey. I like it a lot. Can we do that on the other side?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Corey's in radio. He knew what I meant on the other side. It means the commercial break, which is going to happen right now. We'll be back right after this.
Dust from livestock buildings can be harmful to your animals and to you. Coughing animals can lead to costly vet visits and other serious health problems. Now there's an environmentally safe solution for your dust problems. It's called Dust Lock. Dust Lock can control the dust all summer long with just one application. Protect your animals and your health with Dust Lock. Learn more at dustlock.com.
You know that car sound that sounds like a cricket playing a banjo? Jays can fix that. You know when you step on the brakes and your car sounds like a pair of tennis shoes in the dryer? Paul is a guy who specializes in that. And you know that sound that never happens when the mechanic's around? Paul took a whole course on that. If you own a car, you need to know Paul. Paul owns Jay's Auto Shop, 202 North Main Street, Blue Earth, 525-1052, 525-1052.
Don't need to ask him his opinion more than once. Al Travis on the Al Travis Show.
And we've got a meteorologist, Corey Harguth. He is a meteorologist with the Linder Farm Network. Corey, if I can, a couple of things. This idea, let's say it's a 50% chance of rain. Joe Schmoes, he couldn't tell me whether it's going to rain on me or not, so he throws 50% out. Isn't how that works, and maybe I'm wrong, you tell me. That means that 50% of the area has a shot for rain, right? Not Al himself over his head, right? How to explain the percentage to me?
You got that absolutely correct. There's not a lot of people that understand that. Yeah, a lot of people think that they would have that 50% chance of it raining right over them, but no, it's over the entire area that forecast covers. So
there you go.
Let's say when the National Weather Service puts it out on their area, we'll use the Twin Cities, for example, because they cover a very, very large portion of the state of Minnesota. So that would mean 50% of their coverage area will more than likely see some rain during whatever that forecast period is. So,
all right. So good. I
don't like using the percentages because it's not as understood as well.
Yeah. How much of what you get or do are you developing? And what I mean by that, I mean, I presume the National Weather Service, you don't, Corey doesn't have the Corey satellite. So the satellite is throwing out, where the storm fronts are. And I presume you can look up highs and the lows, the temperatures, and see the difference in wind. But do you then get on there and say, oh, that's right. And again, Linder, I think you guys are Owatonna, right? That area in south central Minnesota. You get used to, oh, by the way, when it wings off the lake here, it generally goes, like this. Do you get that technical that that as this scoots across, this is how it reacts, and that's why you get so specialized with weather?
Yeah, there are definitely some patterns that we can see. So, case in point, so a cold front moved its way through the state here over the past couple of days. So, let's use that for an example. So, usually we know that how the winds are going to change. So that's a key piece to all of this because that kind of dictates how everything moves. So when you got a cold front approaching, many cases you'll have a warm front that's gone through before, which turns your winds generally to the south and west. Yep. Once that cold front comes in, you get that more north and northwesterly flow. Yep. So that's just one of the patterns we can see. Or
But I mean, specifically how it happens around our neck of the woods. You will get very good at Minnesota. I don't know. If you're a Hawaiian meteorologist, do you get tired of saying 80 degrees and sunny and a chance of rain next week? I mean, it's different here, right? I mean, you can kind of tell what comes across South Dakota, but you understand those patterns and say, I, myself, Corey, see what they're sending me from the National Weather Service, but I'm telling you it's going to be X degrees warmer or cooler. I mean, can you get into that? I mean, Great Lakes must affect stuff. The computer can't be figuring it all out. I mean, Great Lakes going to buffer some things and change it, right?
Yeah, these computer models that we use are actually very, very good at picking up on some of those patterns. But let's go back to the Hawaii forecast. And okay. I actually do have some experience there because on the side, I actually work for another network. That we forecast around the country. And yes, that is one of the easiest ones to do.
Okay, good. I wasn't wrong.
It does not change at all. In the last probably 4 or 5 months at least that I've been covering that station, I mean, I can almost record it a week in advance and they probably wouldn't. It's one.
You know what? You're honest, and I love that, Corey, because the rest of it's always the same every day. This could be a repeat. Good. Okay, but then there are other places, obviously, that things are much more volatile. Minnesota, absolutely. Maybe not. So that's where the meteorologist cuts his chops, right? You got to figure out, oh, that's right. And I would say on the other side of the Great Lakes, as everything's steaming along and it clips it a little north, south, you really got to be flexible and on your feet. You look every day. I guess maybe my point is, you're in central Minnesota. The weather went through. You got a couple of nice days coming. Do you sit back and relax, or are you looking to see what's coming up through the Colorado Rockies right now and saying, hey, this is 3 days away, but get the heck out of Dodge?
Yeah, absolutely. We're always looking ahead because what's coming off the Rockies will eventually be working its way into our area. Now, will it be exactly what they're seeing? No, probably not, because the mountains will have different effects. Of course, you got your different elevations. Yeah. So they'll see. I'm not going to say that certain winter weather word right now because we're not in that time of year, and I refuse to say it right now.
Good for you. God bless you.
They could still be seeing that in the upper elevations, but by the time it gets here, could it just weaken to a light shower? Yeah, absolutely.
How do you tell how much water's in a storm like that? That just amazes me that something can come through the Rockies and dump all that stuff we don't speak of, and still get to Minnesota and drop an inch of rain. And then you think about an inch of rain across the entire flipping state. How much water did that thing carry from the ocean here? That's just flipping amazing.
Oh, that's where it really gets complicated, Al. And that's where the, what was it supposed to be, 4 semesters of calculus came into play?
No kidding.
Oh, yeah.
I was going to ask you, because that's the part that comes into the farming thing, right? As much as you can say it is a 50% chance of rain in our area somewhere you'll get rain, what really matters to the farmer is how much of that. And you're out there predicting 6/10. Well, how in God's green earth do you pull 6/10 of an inch out of your calculus class and get that number? Because that thing's been snowing and, I'm sorry about the word, and raining since it crossed the Pacific. How do you get that number? How do you figure that out?
Yeah, honestly, that's where we start to rely on the computer models and such that are programmed to do just that. And now I'm just going to throw out there, we don't have, or at least in my case, I don't have the, special access to all of these models and such. It's everything that anybody listening right now, they can go and pull it up on the internet. It's just, how do you interpret what it's actually telling you? Yeah. That's what meteorology comes down to. It's more interpretation than it is anything.
Yeah, again, with the last bit, you mind being watched closely? Like you say, I can't figure that stuff out. My weather channel says it should start raining by 5. Well, at 4:45, I'm looking outside. I'm trying to hold them down to the minute that it's supposed to start. That's not fair. It's not fair to you or to anybody else. But that farmer needs to know whether it's 6/10 of an inch or an inch. I mean, it makes a difference in their lives. You okay with being watched that close? With that kind of stuff? You good with a gamble?
Well, you know what? Even if we're not comfortable with it, it's what's going to happen. So, you're stuck with it no matter what when you decide to get into a field like this. But, that's kind of the fun in it, too. Just seeing...
Fair enough.
Okay, maybe fun's not the right word, but some days it is.
Oh, it's got to be exhilarating.
How close does your forecast actually come to verifying to what's there? Because it does not take much to change these forecasts. No. Let's use a winter forecast, for example. Those are some of the hardest things to do in this part of the country because, you can have your little low pressure system tracking its way along, but if that thing moves north or south by as little as, say, 25 miles, that can make a huge difference to someone getting all kinds of the S word to
or
getting
not.
next to nothing.
Oh, we had one of those this year. They ended up sending all these kids home from school, and then it was 25 miles a different way. It's like, free day, kids. We got nothing. All right, I got to fly, Corey. I love having you on. Maybe we can do it again. I do appreciate you. You can find you on the Linder Farm Network, and if I'm in Hawaii, what's that network? The Hawaiian Farm Network? Oh, is there one? That'd be so cool.
Oh, I don't even remember what it is.
Okay.
It's just one of those little stations over there in western Maui.
All right. Well, hopefully they give you at least 2 weeks vacation there every year. I got to fly, my friend. I appreciate you coming on, and I appreciate you doing this for us. Nice to meet you.
All right. Thanks for having me, Al.
He's Corey Harguth. He is a meteorologist here in the fine state of Minnesota. He works for Linder Farm Network.